Hi everyone, my name is Grace Raymond and I'm a fiber artist currently studying at Savannah College of Art and Design. Today I'm going to take you through a little project that I finished a while back for school in my surface design class. This project involves creating a digital pattern collection that involves repeats including half drops, brick repeats, and just straight repeats as well. So I wanted to take you through the project today and show you everything I did. You may have seen in my last video that I was painting some motifs for the project, and I'm happy to say that I've now completed the project and I think it looks fantastic. So let me take you through it. Hi everyone, this is VoiceOver Grace speaking, and here I'm coming at you with my Americana Dreamboat repeat collection by myself, Grace Raymond. So this project was a project where we were supposed to create a few digital patterns using Photoshop, and one of the patterns had to be a half drop, and one of them had to be a straight repeat. So I did a combination of the two. For this project, we had to have a hero print, which is our main print, and then 3 coordinate patterns and 3 texture patterns. So let's get into it. For this project, we were supposed to have a client in mind. So my client would be anybody who lives in America who is fighting for freedom of all people. There's lots of political unrest in America, and Americana Dreamboat, which is my project, offers a peaceful getaway from the troubles of the world, not to like distract from everything that's going on, because we do want to pay attention to everything that's going on and keep our minds focused on what we can control and what we can do to make change in this country, but instead to breed peace and patriotism in everybody, because I think the world needs a lot more of that these days. The brand I chose to take inspiration from for this project is Labor Day Weekend, which is run by SCAD grad Caroline Lanier. I mentioned her in my last video, but what I didn't mention is that her brand is very personal to me and very near and dear to my heart. I love her brand. I think that everything she creates is so inspiring to me. So I love to pay homage to her through this project. For this project, I took inspiration from her brand basically for the subject matter of the patterns that I chose. I also created these patterns that I'm about to show you as if they were to be used for scrap fabric in Caroline's work. She uses a lot of recycled materials and thrifted items in her work, and that just really inspires me because I love the environment and I love recycling and everything. I think that more artists should be using dead stock fabric and recycled fabric and stuff like that. So I really take inspiration from her in using all of these recycled materials. Next up is my mood board, which really sets the tone for this whole design collection. I really wanted to showcase sailboats and stars and stripes as part of my work, and I chose this color palette because it inspired me and felt very patriotic while also being a little bit toned down and not super in your face USA, America, or anything like that. But I wanted to use this color palette to provide a safe and serene kind of feeling, as well as breeding patriotism in anyone who sees my work. I chose the sailboat motif because I wanted to make people think of, an ocean getaway and everything, and feel like they were calm watching waves roll past, watching the sailboats on the water, everything like that. I really am inspired by coastal living and sailing, because I did not grow up near a beach, but I always visited the beach every summer and every spring for spring break. And I loved beach trips with my family. I really did. So growing up going to the beach really is a big contributor to a lot of my inspiration for this project. So I wanted to include that in my work and use the sailboat as a motif. For my motifs, I chose the sailboat, of course, like I just mentioned, and then also seagulls, waves, stars, and then also this paisley that I created. I used gouache to paint these motifs to create each image, and instead of choosing florals for this project, which was suggested by my teacher, I chose to do the sailboat theme, like I said before, and I painted everything in my chosen color palette. I had a really fun time mixing the paint and everything. I've always been told that I have a really good eye for color. I just matched the colors by my eye instead of using actual paint chips or anything like that. and I think it turned out really well. This here is my hero pattern block, which is the repeat unit of my hero pattern. I'll show you the flooded out unit later. But this is basically where I started for my hero pattern. I wanted to involve the sailboats. I tried not to repeat any of the motifs within the hero pattern block, and it was suggested by my teacher that I add the stripes in the background to kind of ground the design, and I think that was a really good choice that I added, and took his advice. I think that the stripes really do make the background pop from the rest of the images. And I think that it really does, like I said, ground the design. It gives it this background to kind of pop off of and gives it something to contrast from all of the wildness that's going on in the hero pattern. Here's my hero print flooded out. As you can see, it is a half drop pattern. I think the place where I see this pattern the most is on a collared shirt for men, especially for beach wear and casual wear, maybe like a golf shirt. But overall, I think this pattern is really successful. These are my three coordinates. The first pattern is a paisley pattern, the second is sailboats and seagulls, and the third is just a basic stripe. I wanted these patterns to be a little bit looser and free, especially with the stripe. I think the stripe is very coastal aesthetic and free and fun with the meandering lines. And the sailboats and seagulls actually replaced a different pattern that I had originally created for my coordinate. And I think that this was a much better choice. It's just a lot cleaner, and it's also a lot more versatile than the other pattern was. And then, of course, the paisley is the rock star of these coordinates. It's just very bold, very bright, while also being subdued in the colors and not being too in your face. Moving on to my texture patterns, first we have these beautiful waves, then the seagulls in flight, and another paisley. For my texture prints, I wanted to make something more delicate that could be seen on accessories such as bikini tops and bags. I think these patterns really do give that breezy ocean feel, especially with the waves and the seagulls. I think the paisley is a nice addition as well because it mimics the other paisley pattern without being too in your face, and I think it's a nice texture pattern that could be used for many different things. This is the final collection all put together. Everything looks great together. I think my color palette works really well with everything. I think the collection as a whole is very cohesive, and I think it really does give the vibe that I was going for. The way I came up with the title for this collection, Americana Dreamboat, is I thought of what describes America and what is the American dream, is what I was kind of thinking. I kind of combined the words American Dream and sailboats into Americana Dreamboat because I am a Taylor Swift fan, I must admit, so Americana is always on my mind. I thought it also gave a nice nod to the Americana art style, which, if you don't know what that is, it celebrates the history of the United States, especially with the identity and different tales that the Americans told throughout the years, like folklore and everything like that. It really gives that sense of nostalgia for a long time ago, like the golden age of America. And I think it's a really nice art style. So I wanted to give a little nod to that with my collection. And so that's why I chose the name Americana Dreamboat. Moving on, we are going to look at Americana Dreamboat for exteriors. This is a collection of AI mockups that I created using Viscom AI and images provided by WGSN. I know a lot of people may be anti AI, but I did have to use it for this project, and I think it actually ended up being very successful. I believe that AI is a tool that can be used to gather information rather than create art. I don't think that AI is capable of creating real art, as real art is human in nature. But I did use AI to create these mockups because it does give me an idea of what these patterns would look like on a piece of fabric. And in these next images, I will show you those fabrics in the context of exteriors. This first image uses my seagulls pattern, the stripes pattern, and the waves pattern. I feel that this image really does give that coastal vibe. I love the way that these mock-ups turned out. I think that they look very professional and really bring to life the pattern collection that I created. Here are two more mock-ups that I created with AI, And these mockups show my patterns being used for different uses in accessories and cushions, pillows, etc. I think that these mockups turned out great as well, and I think they really showcase my patterns. This last exteriors mock-up is probably the most complicated of the bunch. I used 5 of my patterns in this mock-up, and I think the AI really translated them very well. The only problem I found with the AI tool that I used is that it kind of dulls the image and makes the image a little bit blurry when it does apply the texture to the object that you're trying to map it on. But overall, I think that this mock-up does a really good job of showcasing the pattern used as a collection within a scene using multiple different patterns from the collection. I think it's very successful in showing what the design capabilities are. Next, we have Americana Dreamboat for fashion. Same thing, I used AI to make these mockups, and these are images provided by WGSN and Adobe Stock. Additionally, I have credited all of the images on the slides that I'm showing you just below or above the image. If you have any further questions about where I got these images, please let me know. This first AI mockup for fashion is a swimsuit design using the seagulls pattern that I created. I think it's a nice textural pattern that does translate well into a swimsuit, and I think the color of the background matches the color of sand perfectly, which really gives that beachy vibe. Next are 2 more mock-ups that I created. The image on the left is a collection of beachwear for the whole family. I think this product line would do very well at some place like Old Navy. I really liked showcasing the versatility of this pattern in use for kids' clothing and adults' clothing, as well as for swimsuits and beachwear. The image on the right is another swimsuit mock-up that I created, and I really like the way that the stripes are vertical on the swimsuit. I think it looks really great and elongates the body, as well as gives it a nice sophisticated touch because of the coloring. Next up, we have this collection of kids swimwear using the patterns I created. I think these patterns look amazing as swimwear for kids. I think each pattern has its own unique freedom and playfulness that kids would absolutely adore in their own swimwear. And I think another thing I really like about this collection as a swimwear is its versatility between gender. I don't think that any of the patterns are solely for just girls or just boys. I think they work very well for unisex clothing, and each pattern can have its own life on any child. Lastly, for the AI mockups for fashion that I created, we have 2 more swimsuits as well as an accessory. The image on the left is another example of one of the textural patterns used as swimwear, and then the image on the right shows an accessory with the stripe pattern, and I think it's very successful all around. I think these mockups turned out amazing, and I'm very proud of my work. Overall, I think this pattern collection as a whole was really cohesive for both exteriors and swimwear. And overall, I really can't decide which I like better, exteriors or swimwear, but I think both are fantastic. Now, as I do this outro, I'm just going to show you the patterns once again, one by one, so that you can see them completely flooded out on the whole screen. I'm really proud of myself for creating all of these patterns, and I think overall, the collection as a whole is very cohesive, and I think it looks fantastic. I think these patterns could have very many uses in the industry, either as exteriors, interiors, or fashion. I think all of those categories would work really well with this collection. I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed seeing my work. I really did put a lot of effort into this project, and I hope that you can see that in the end result. If you would like to work with me after seeing my work, please contact me using the information that's left in the description box below. Finally, thank you for watching this video. If you would like to see more of my art journey, please give me a follow on Instagram. My link is in the bio down below. And also, please subscribe to this channel because I would really love it if you did. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and comment. That stuff really helps me out when getting my work out to be seen by other people. Once again, my name is Grace Raymond, and I'm a fiber artist currently studying at Savannah College of Art and Design. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching this video. Bye-bye.